Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look at what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we're talking all about Mercury entering Scorpio and the full moon in Aries. But in case you missed it, last week, Libra season began and we gave an overview of Libra season. So if you want to know more about that and missed it, then definitely check out last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week, we will tell you everything that you need to know about Venus in Libra and the end of Pluto retrograde.
And with that being said, let's dive into it. So the first thing we will be talking about today that's upcoming in the astrology is Mercury entering Scorpio. This will happen on October 6th at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know is that when Mercury moves into Scorpio, conversations will get a little bit more deeper, more focused, and will be more intentional. So you'll notice that there is a shift from more light, surface level conversations to really wanting to get to the bottom of things and understand the why behind what's being said. So this is a transit where you may notice yourself picking up on subtle cues in conversations or just reading between the lines a little bit more easily.
How you will feel. During this transit, you're going to be more reflective and curious about what's going on beneath the surface. You might find that you are reflecting more, asking questions, and more likely to focus on direct and honest communication. Overall, this is a time to have very intentional and meaningful conversations with others.
Where this will show up in your life. Since Scorpio is a very private energy, you might notice that you're more strategic or careful about how you share your thoughts, more mindful of the timing of your words, and you might notice the people around you are also being a little bit more private. Also, whether it be at work or just dealing with daily problems that you need to solve, Mercury in Scorpio is a really good time for deep research. So you might notice that you're more focused and willing to dig into the details to find a solution.
What will become important to you? You're going to be more focused on clarity and truth, especially when it comes to conversations or learning new information. You might find yourself speaking more intentionally and really listening to the things that people around you are saying. This is a time where you really want to be confident that the information you know and what others are saying is accurate, and you're more likely to either research or fact check anything that comes up.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Mercury will be in Scorpio until October 29th at 5:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when it enters Sagittarius. However, something worth noting is that once Mercury moves into Sagittarius, it will retrograde and it will briefly dip back into Scorpio. So there will be another few days of Mercury in Scorpio. And if you want to know the schedule for Mercury retrograde in advance, Mercury will station retrograde in Sagittarius on November 9th at 2:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll retrograde into Scorpio November 18th at 10:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Station direct in Scorpio November 29th, 12:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then re-enter Sagittarius on December 11th at 5:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we will talk about that when we get closer, since that's pretty much a month or a little over a month away from now.
And per usual, certain signs will be affected more than others. The signs that are most affected are Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius placements. And by placements, we mean Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements only.
And there are a few key dates you're going to want to pay attention to. These are the aspects that Mercury will make as it moves through Scorpio. Starting off on October 7th, Mercury will square Pluto. So on this day, conversations might feel more intense and it's a little bit easier to become fixated on a topic. So this is a powerful day for getting really important information, but it's going to be important that you try to avoid pushing too hard to get answers.
And then on October 17th, Mercury will be trine the North Node. This is a good day for conversations or focusing on ideas that align with your long-term goals. Pay attention to any advice, insights, or connections that come up on this day.
And then on October 20th, Mercury will be conjunct Mars, which can bring a really large burst of mental energy and a motivation to speak your mind. While this is a good day for acting on ideas quickly, it's going to be important that you're mindful of coming across too blunt or getting into arguments unnecessarily.
And then on October 24th, Mercury will be trine Jupiter. Conversations will feel more optimistic and opportunities can come up, especially through social connections. This is a good day to brainstorm or even share your ideas with others.
And then the day after, on October 25th, Mercury will trine Saturn. This is the day where you might notice that your words carry more weight and it's a little bit easier to focus on more practical plans. So use this day for having some more serious discussions or planning and sorting out more serious long-term commitments.
And lastly, on October 29th, Mercury will be trine Neptune. This is a day where your intuition is very strong and you're going to feel very creative. It's also a time for journaling and working on projects that require a more zoomed out perspective or projects that are long term.
On the same day that Mercury enters Scorpio, we'll also be having a full moon in Aries. So again, that's October 6th, but this will be at 11:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what you need to know is that full moons are a time of releasing and getting into balance. And this full moon is all about finding the balance between independence and cooperation. Since Aries energy really encourages boldness, taking action, and standing in your power, but it's opposite the sun in Libra, you'll be asked to consider how your actions are impacting your relationships.
How you will feel. Full moons bring about heightened emotions, and because this one's in Aries, there's going to be a big rush of motivation. Aries energy moves very quickly, so you might notice that you are feeling maybe a little bit impulsive or things just feel very urgent, like you really need to let go of something and move on. This is a good day to release anything that doesn't serve you.
So where this will show up in your life, you might notice that themes around personal goals, leadership roles, and just having the courage to pursue what you want, especially if they are things that have taken a backseat for the sake of keeping the peace or accommodating something, will be center stage, highlighted by this full moon.
What will become important to you? During the full moon, you're going to want to feel confident in your decisions without second guessing yourself. This is also a time where you're going to focus on finding a balance between your own path and being mindful of the people around you.
Certain signs are affected more than others by this full moon, and those signs are Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, personal placements only, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements. And there is one aspect to this full moon that's worth noting, which is that the full moon will square Jupiter, which can really amplify emotions and make everything feel bigger than it is, which can be exciting if you're feeling inspired, but overwhelming if you're already stressed out. So this aspect can encourage you to dream big and take really big, bold steps, but it's going to be important to avoid overcommitting or making impulsive decisions that you can't realistically follow through on. And that is it for this week's episode. Just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about Venus in Libra and Pluto retrograde ending. So if you want to know more about that, then make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast, you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you don't miss when we post next week. But until then, that is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.